Holly Matthews.
Hello.
Let's go back to Byker.
Oh my God.
Thank you for coming on.
I'm so excited. I mean,
too.
it feels like, I know we said when I came in, but 30 years is a horrible number for us to have to talk about.
It's crazy.
But remember, we were so young.
Little.
We were babies,
Yeah.
like actual babies, weren't we?
So you started, what, a year after me?
A year after you. So we were kind of the same age, weren't we?
Yeah.
I was 11,
Yeah.
just about to be 12. You were 12.
Yeah.
So I mean, I always say this, but like all of our teenage years were in front of a camera.
Yes.
I mean, you didn't really have that many awkwards. You were like just good looking from the start. I did not come in like that. Mine was it was a process.
I think it was the case for all of us. Let's go back to the beginning though first.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you got on the show.
Well, and I brought something. I was going to bring a copy of it, but I essentially wrote a letter to the show.
Yeah.
So
that's a different route to most people.
It is a different route, and people often ask me like, "How did you get into acting?" And I'm like, "You can't replicate what I did because it was weird, and it was just a series of luck." And I put myself forward, but essentially there was a show called Keysiders that went to Newcastle.
Yes.
Do you remember that? And obviously we knew Byker Grove was on, but I don't know. I just maybe thought, I don't know how to get into it. It's not new. I didn't. My dad was a welder. My mum worked in a bank. I didn't know the acting industry.
Yeah.
And that was in the local paper, in the Chronicle, talking about that. And they had a number for casting, like for that show. My dad rang it and said, "Are they going to have kids?" And they were like, "No, why don't you contact Byker Grove?"
Yeah.
So he did, and they said, "Well, you're more than welcome to send a letter." Assuming, I would imagine, that it was like my dad going to send the letter.
Yeah.
And then I wrote this letter and sent it to them. And for years, I kind of thought it was like an urban legend. Like, did I write it? And also, because of the time it was like, what, 96, 97? I'm thinking, did I write that in like pen? Like, was that handwritten?
Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't, because on my 30th birthday, and I've got a copy of it here. My 30th
You've got the letter?
I've got the letter.
Amazing.
It was put onto a canvas, my 30th birthday. And hilariously, and I know every time I say this, a designer dies, but the font was Comic Sans, because like at the time that was like fun. So I've done it in. So this is the letter. I mean, it's hilarious, right? And you'll know it. 2D.
Yeah.
So it says, I'll read it. It says, "Dear D," who was the production manager. Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I mean, it's dead cash. A couple of weeks ago, my dad phoned you to see if I could get a part in Byker Grove. I don't want to put it like that.
It's that easy.
Just to get a part. You know what I mean? He was told to write a letter telling you about myself. Well, here it is.
So, here I am. Take me.
Here I am. And then I've put, my name is Holly Wilkinson. That's me. And I've put, right, and this is what's even funnier, I've put, I'm 12 years old, which was a lie. But you know when you're that age and you age up?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm basically 12. I'm basically 15.
Doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No, now we're aging down.
Yeah.
We're aging down. I'm 12 years old with dark brown hair, which I had put in brown, just, like help him out, with green eyes. And I'd done that in green, just to like help him, visual.
No headshot? No
headshot? Nothing.
You hadn't had any done by then?
I imagine I did a drawing or something myself. And then it says, "I've been doing drama for 6 years. Profesh. I'm currently attending the Tyne Theatre Stage School in Newcastle, where I'm doing Lambda exams in November. I hadn't done them yet, so I hadn't done. I've been in many productions for my school and my drama group, and I'm interested in any opportunities that you could give me." And then this bit cracks me up. I've put, "I'm not shy one bit."
I think we can tell.
I'm not shy one bit. And I would love a part in Byker Grove. I would enjoy being on TV. It would give me that extra push forward that I need.
Wow. And did you come up with that yourself?
I wouldn't doubt it. I was very grown. I was just always like that weird kid.
I remember your first day, seeing you in the read-through. It's really strange how you remember things clearly, isn't it?
I was so nervous.
And I remember thinking, well, you didn't come across that way.
Did I not?
No, because I remember thinking, oh, she's confident.
Really?
Yeah.
Because my memory of it was I was quiet and scared.
But not when you were acting.
No, not when I was acting. Yeah. I was comfortable then. But I always remember, it's so funny because I can remember the thing in the in the makeup room going in and someone saying to me I had spots, and that made me feel nervous. I remember being seeing anyone that was there, probably you, because I didn't really know how long anyone had been there, and seeing everyone and just being in awe. You were the people off the telly. So it was wow, and all the older girls who looked glamorous and stuff. But the end of this, I'll just show you the
yeah,
end.
go on.
It says, I would love a part, and then 3 exclamations, because you need that. And then at the yours, hopefully, Holly. And then at the very bottom, I've just put again, please write back as soon as possible. Just to let me
Now,
know.
damn it.
Now, because I was keen. I was like, come on. And then they got me in, and I auditioned for Alexa's part, Nat.
Yeah.
So I did loads of auditions, didn't get the part, but I couldn't believe it. I'd been on the set of Byker Grove.
Yeah.
And then about 6 months later, they wrote a part in for me, and I got a phone call, and
Brilliant.
I was like, you got a part, we wrote Emma in for you.
Must have saw
Little
something
Emma.
in you.
God knows. God knows.
Wow. And how did you come into the show?
So
Trooper John.
Good
Yes.
memory. Trooper John, which my sister still goes, oh, you're Trooper John, you, still to this day. It was what Trooper John was like a fake internet person.
That was a funny old story. Like, we were the young crowd at the time, weren't we?
I was catfishing.
Yeah, you were.
The original catfish.
You're the OG catfish.
Trooper John. So it was like catfish and Ollie, was that right?
Yeah.
And they didn't know who it was talking to them on the internet.
Yeah.
And then it turned out it was me. And I remember it might have been you that said it. It was like, it's Little Emma. And that was my friend.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know why I have to put on a Geordie accent when I'm doing Us in Byker Grove.
Did you watch the show before you got the part?
No.
Really?
No, I obviously knew of it, but I think I watched what was on Home and Away on Neighbours. It was on the same time.
Yeah.
So I watched them, and I think, if I'm being really honest, I think I was too jealous to watch anybody else that was a kid on TV.
Really?
I hated it. I hated going to the theatre. I hated them. I hated the kids on the stage.
That should be me.
I just thought, why are you up there? Why can I not be?
I was a super fan before I got the part.
Were you?
Oh my God. Like
Loved it.
PJ and Duncan were like my heroes.
Amazing.
Still are, to be fair.
Wink, wink.
I remember like recording the paintball episode on VHS.
Yeah.
And just like watching it over and over when I was like 9 years old or something. And then of course he got blinded, and I was just like, I've got to wait a whole year to find out what happens next.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we had to actually wait to see, because I think it's funny for people like now, like obviously my kids are just like, they couldn't care less that I've ever been on TV because everybody's famous. Then their minds are like, have you got 1 million followers on TikTok? You're nobody. So I don't care whatever that weird show was on. But like 6 months of the year we were filming, but then there was a massive gap.
Yeah.
And like, I guess for people, I imagine we waiting now, we wouldn't even want to wait for it that long, would we, to watch a show?
Yeah.
It's so different. Yeah. And for us as well, growing up on telly, 6 months at that age is massive, because do you remember like when you used to come back and everyone changed?
Yes.
They got like boobs and like, oh, his voice has dropped now.
That's
and, like,
so true, yeah.
It was weird.
I remember like the start of a new series just being like, oh, we're back. We're going to be here for the next 6 months, because we just used to have so much fun, didn't we?
So much fun. And it, for all of us, like especially once we were in the thick of the show, it was hard at school.
Yeah.
And we were the weird actor kids.
How did you find growing up on screen, and what was it like going to school for you as well? So like obviously you look back and a whole heap of therapy later, you realise like how you dealt with it. I've always said, oh yeah, it was fine. No, it wasn't actually. It wasn't.
I remember it not being good for you.
Like, yeah.
I remember that we used to get the driver would drop us off at home. Yeah. But they always used to like, we would go, can you drop me off at home?
Yeah.
Because it was hard. Like we went to normal schools. It wasn't, it wasn't now, like you probably do have drama schools up in the Northeast now, but it was normal work. We were normal kids from normal areas, and we were put on TV, and it was sink or swim. And I think when I first went in, because I was so young, and you were as well, like I had the impression that everyone would be nice and everyone would be as excited as I was, and they weren't. Yeah. And I moved schools, and then I also think,
you moved schools during Byker?
Yeah.
Did you?
First year I moved. Right. It was too hard. And
so you were the new girl off Byker Grove.
The telly. Oh. But in some ways that helped me to reinvent myself a little bit, because I'd built a bit of confidence. Yeah. And I thought, I'm not doing that again. And I kind of created a mask, essentially. And I realised now as an adult, like I got diagnosed with ADHD, which most actors and entertainers end up doing anyway. But I realise now that a lot of the performance was this mask that helped me. When I was on set, same as you, the minute I got those new scripts come in, I knew it was like a relief, because when you were on set, you were just yourself.
Yeah.
and it was a
I
safe
was
space.
a totally different person at school and at Byker. When I was a biker, I was like, these are my people.
Yeah, 100%. The minute you went on set, like I even think like I can remember the smells and like everything there felt like a safe space. We're around people, you could be creative and fun, you had a laugh. When I went to school, I was like, right, I'm this version of me and this has to be tougher and louder and stronger. And that took a lot of unpicking. I don't think, and also teachers and stuff were horrible about it. Like they didn't make it easy, did they?
Yeah, I heard from like classmates that teachers would make little snide remarks. He's a Back To Grove again. He's going to do terribly in his GCSEs.
I had one teacher would say to me, "Oh, sorry if I'd forgot my homework, it would be oh, you've been up all night learning scripts." Or one teacher said to me, another class, "If you do your work, you can have a kiss off the girl off Byker Grove." Honestly, you look back now and you think, oh, they'd be like, people used to have the impression we were absolutely loaded, which definitely not. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna. We were making money as kids, but most of us didn't really get it. Like a lot of us had things saved and tucked away and stuff, and I'm very glad that I did. But I used to you'd have people making comments about money, and when you haven't come from money, that's really uncomfortable, isn't it? Like, so I'd want to like buy things for people, or I'd want to like, I just felt really uncomfortable with it. So I think a lot of us either got really severely bullied or just had completely different versions of us, didn't we?
Mine was sort of like the kids at school were just a bit weirded out by it, I think. So they were just like, they just went, whoa, and sort of backed off a bit. So I found that quite tough. We'll get on with it.
We move. And it's funny because like, now, especially now, I feel like, especially since Ant and Dec started talking about redoing it, there's been like there's such a nice feeling about it. When I'm doing speaking events or I'm doing things and it comes up, I mean, just your Geordie accent, people instantly go, oh, Byker Grove. And it's when you say you were in it, people have such a fond like feeling about it. It's such a nostalgia.
But do you remember, I don't know why, but when we were especially really young, we would almost be a little bit embarrassed about the fact we were on the show.
Yeah, we were.
Weren't we?
Yeah, we were really embarrassed.
Weird.
Especially if we came down to London and like people were much more excited, weren't they? Like in Newcastle, people probably saw someone off Byker Grove, or their cousin was in it, or they were next
in town all the time.
So no one was bothered, but you'd come down to and people would scream and that, like, and I never got comfortable with that.
No wonder I moved here.
You loved it.
Like Brad Pitt when I got off at King's Cross.
Oh, I bet it, loving it. I was like so weirded by it. Like I never really got comfortable with any of that. And I mean, I think now, thank God we didn't have social media.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, I'm so glad about that.
Well, my oldest daughter wants to be an actor, and for years she's been like, "Can I have a TikTok account that's not private and all of that?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "You were on TV as a kid," and I'm like, "Right, babe. What would happen if somebody wanted to speak to me and they saw me on TV is they would have to write a letter, go to the post office, post the letter. It would come to the casting department and they would just go, no, probably not. We didn't really see it. Although I do think there was often people on set. Do you think that now?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, weird people on set.
Probably should not have been
Should not have just running amok. Right?
I've thought about that recently, actually.
Yeah, I've talked about this. I remember going on set once and some guy was like, "Hi, Holly. I remember when you started in," and he said the date and like what I was wearing and I was like, okay.
And they would be like from upstairs, "Oh yeah, such and such is here today. Go and have lunch with him." What?
Who?
Okay. Like, yeah, that was a bit odd. There was definitely a folder in the office of fan mail that we were not allowed to see.
I saw some of it.
Did you?
Were you not with me?
No.
Some of it was so bad.
Oh, did you sneak a look?
Well, there was one guy, I went up to have a little gander, but there was one bloke apparently, and I didn't know this, who wrote from being about 14 or 15, he wrote to me every day, like loads of weird stuff. And then he said he was getting married. He invited me to the wedding, and I assume they stopped after that. I assume she knocked it on the head.
Well, understandably so.
Really weird. Some of them were really disgusting.
I'm kind of glad that we didn't.
I'm glad we did not see them.
Oh, that's so strange.
It's weird, isn't it?
So when you think back about Byker, like, what does it make you think of? Any moments that stand out for you?
I mean, there's so many.
We were there for so long, weren't we?
We were, and I think
like
the feeling that you described of like the feeling of getting new scripts in when we would read through things and we'd go through things, and sort of certain storylines. I think like once I started singing as well, that was quite nice for my character, because I was kind of in that younger group for quite a while, especially because I looked quite young for my age. And then I remember my character was going to have like a glow up, right? And at the time, Victoria Beckham had just cropped her hair blonde and short, like really short. Do you remember that look that she had? It was really short. And the makeup team were like, oh, let's do that to Holly. Imagine.
No way.
I had long dark hair and cropped and blonde, and I cried. I was like, please, it's social suicide. Please, I'll never get over that. Do you think I'm getting bullied at school? They'll kill me. And they talked them round, but they took me. We used to go to Tony and Guy, didn't we, to get our hair done for a while. And they would only give you one haircut. It was only whatever they were doing.
So you're going to look great for the next 2 weeks.
And then it's out of fashion. Now, next time you can have the next Tony. They wouldn't give you any other cut. So weird. And they went in, and I don't know why this was the cut. It had to be something drastic, because my character was supposed to come back like, oh, she's like found herself and she's growing in that. But I had these orange stripes down my hair. Do you remember? And I absolutely hated them, but I didn't want the Victoria Beckham haircut, so I stomached them. And I used to try to, like, when I was outside of school, like try and twist them to try and, I hated them. But I came back, so I remember that kind of glow up. And then similar to you, kissing half the cast.
No, and our characters were just getting together, and then I died.
And then died. Well, I think, to be honest, I think we only end up getting together because we'd kissed everybody else.
And we were the only like, two older ones left. How long did you stay after I left?
It must have been a year.
I think. Really?
It wasn't. I don't know. Actually, maybe it wasn't. Not that. I think I was in one more series, but I wasn't in it very much. I think it was something like that. It wasn't long.
The whole show went a lot younger, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
Have you ever seen the last episode?
No.
Have you not?
I haven't seen it.
I looked it up on YouTube.
Weird. I couldn't. Was it all a dream?
It was like all in the writer's head.
That makes me feel funny.
I know.
That's really sad.
It just doesn't. It's not in keeping with.
It isn't in keeping with what
was about.
Because Byker was like, there really wasn't anything like it. I think people forget how groundbreaking it was. I think the first gay kiss on kids' TV was on Byker Grove, and it was the tamest thing in the world, wasn't it?
And there was uproar
about it. I mean, you can imagine. But like teen pregnancies, and we covered so many things on the show that now might seem really tame, but at the time it was really groundbreaking. And I think more than anything, it was because it was normal kids, and we looked like normal kids. We were rough around the edges. We weren't drama school kids. We just did it. I mean, we used to walk on set and like, we didn't know the script. We just did look at it then and learn it, didn't we? I remember actually one time, I don't know why this one sticks in my head, one scene, there's a few of us in this one scene, and we got the giggles and we couldn't stop, and it was horrible. And it was you kept looking me in the eye, and we were trying to do the scene by like almost not looking at each other because it was so funny. And the director was it was like the end of the day, and they were getting really annoyed with us, but like I had to like keep saying the words, but like not looking at each other. And that was the thing, we would have such a laugh. Like it was probably hard to keep us in check sometimes, wasn't it? Because we're just kids.
Absolutely. But I always found like the funnier we found it, the more annoyed the crew would get, and then we would just keep on laughing, wouldn't we?
So bad. Or like when you would be like, because you'd be there all day, you'd start eating. You'd decide to choose to eat something in the scene, and then you'd have to eat and eat throughout the scene to keep doing it. Did your family, like apart from your sister was obviously behind the scenes, did any of your family ever come on as an extra or anything?
No. Did yours?
So like probably the last year that we were in, not in my scenes, one of the AD says to me, oh, we need to be more extras for it was a scene on the platform at the metro station, so the train, those ones. And he was like, it's like 50 quid or something. And I was like, oh, I'll see if any of I thought my grandma would love that. She'd love a little bit of money from my grandma. So I rang Rita, and I said to my dad, like, we used to do it, they need a couple of people. So my dad took my grandma down, Rita. And she was so professional. And I remember, I can't remember who the runner was at the time, and they were like, oh, she was like staying still between the takes. And they kept going, right, Rita, I'll just go back to first positions now. And she's like, I haven't moved. And then when it went out, you could see my dad's bald head in the back of whatever the scene was. And my grandma rang me, and like, I didn't obviously always watch the episodes, not always, and if it wasn't really my thing either. And she rang me, she went, did you see it? And I went, what? Oh, I haven't seen it yet. She went, you could see me cord trousers.
Oh.
And she was buzzing. She loved it.
Brilliant.
But that was like, I mean, that was another kind of weird thing, that your whole life was there, but a lot of the people you loved in your family weren't actually part of it, because it was a whole different world to them, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like,
they don't really know what it was like to be there. Yeah,
it's weird, isn't it? Like, it's such, I mean, it's nice to talk about it with other, like, the old cast members, because how do you compare that to anything?
It's crazy how vivid it is in our minds, and that's obviously because we loved it so much, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think as well, like, people laugh, like, my sister's like, are you still dining out on Byker Grove?
Forever.
But like, it's hilarious how often it comes up. Like, one of my mates is always saying, either you talk about being Geordie or it's Byker Grove, it comes up. I'm like,
it comes hand in hand.
I mean, but the minute someone, because we don't live like in Newcastle, the minute you're out of Newcastle, that's what people associate, which is lovely. But they'll, even if people don't know you were in it, they would associate it with Byker Grove. And so it does still come up, and it comes up so fondly for people.
And it's going to come up more, I think.
I know. Well, do we know what's happening with it?
It's in production, I guess. Wow. Yeah, I'm dying to find out. What do you think they're going to do with the show? I mean, is there going to actually be a Grove?
I don't know. I mean,
because the Grove is used for something else now, yeah?
I mean, I would hope that they would go back to what it was originally about, like.
But you have to incorporate like today's things, like stuff. Social media.
But I think that would be, I mean, it would be so good. I think like there would be so much there that you could do. And yeah, I think it would be like brilliant. But they have to go back to its roots. I think when it went wrong, really, is when it started to get after we left. When it went wrong, after we left, it was brilliant up until then. But it started to get a bit like, I think, a bit younger and a bit more like far-fetched. When actually it was the edgy, rough around the edges thing that's why it was so why it was so good. And then it was kind of a big jump for kids. I think it tended to be that. There was like Hollyoaks was the next thing, which obviously you did as well. You know, did all the rounds. and that, like, I think was a big jump for kids that were kind of tweens and early teenagers. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope they do go back to that.
I think they will stay true.
I do as well.
To the original format, because the lads obviously love the show as well.
Yeah.
So.
And I think people always ask, don't they, about Ant and Dec, and like, they were always, I always remember when they came to set, or people talking about them, like that they were just themselves, and it's not pretense. Like, I think that's really nice for people to know, because I think when people are on telly, people think, oh, is it just like, are they really like that? But I think they always did stay in touch with people, didn't they? And there was always a fondness. I really do think it was, without sounding cringe, it was a family feeling. It was, you know, we were probably there more than we were at school.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, my attendance was about 61% at school.
We were there when Ant and Dec came back for Jeff's funeral.
We were.
Yeah. And you had a scene with them.
I did have a scene with them. And it's so funny because I found that on YouTube or somewhere. Yeah. And I remember at the time thinking, like, I was so grown. Like, I felt so grown. 14, 15, I think, yeah. And going, and what's funny as well, like, all the writers had like a bit of a joke, didn't they, in it? Because it was all like, oh, I could have been a singer, me, and it was all like funny lines that they had, wasn't it? Yeah, I loved it. Before I'd got into Byker, although I wasn't a fan of Byker, I loved PJ and Duncan.
Oh, did you?
But like, as rap stars.
Yeah. You had the albums.
I did actually have the albums, I'm not joking. And once I went to Whitley Bay where there was a big festival thing on, they were singing, and I'd made this sign that said, I love PJ and Duncan, but it was so big.
Wow, that's
I know, it was so lot. It was really big, and everyone kept shouting for me to put it down because they couldn't see, because it was that big.
Oh, you're that girl.
That girl. I was like, yeah, really. No, it had like actual wood on the side of it. It was massive. It was annoying. So I did like Ant and Dec, but so it was kind of nice, like full circle thing to do the scenes with them.
And then when you left, you became a pop star for a bit.
I did for a minute.
I'm dying to know this. How did it come about? Was it in connection with the show, or did you go and get the record deal on your own?
It came about because of the show. So on the show, the character was singing. So Emma was singing in the show. Yeah. And then it was like life imitating art sort of thing. So I went and did, I think it was Live and Kicking. So we obviously should go and do like the Saturday morning show and stuff like that. And before those shows, you would often go for like a meal with whoever was on the show. So it was me, the Blazing Squad squad.
Oh yeah, all of them.
All of them.
Big
Busy.
table.
I was quite quiet. It's like Blazing Squad, someone off Pop Idol or one of them ones, whatever it was at the time. And the girl who was the singer, she had her managers there, and one of the woman was moving to a new management company, and I was just chatting away, like gabbing away as I do.
Did 11-year-old Pushy Holly come out
Yeah.
again? Did you write a letter?
I wrote a letter. I said, "Dear," on the napkin, and I handed it to her.
I look forward to your reply.
Yeah, I'm not shy one bit. Please remember that. But yeah, reply quickly. But I didn't know. She then contacted the show and said, like, could we set up a meeting? And then I think Byker were obviously keen to push it, but they were like, want me to go a certain way. And then I got in touch with a management company. And to be honest, that was weird for me because I never really wanted to be a singer. I could just sing. And I felt massively uncomfortable in that world because that wasn't me acting. That was me being Holly or Summer, as it was, because my name then...
Where did Summer come from?
Not me.
Okay.
Not me.
Okay.
I couldn't even remember to say it. No, Holly Valance was out at the same time and she came from Neighbours. Right. So obviously people were going to mistake us.
Yeah.
Obviously. And Sony were just kind of pushing to... It was weird because it was saying like change the name, but then also attaching it to Byker Grove. So it was like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
We went with it, and it was one of those where the opportunities came around. I met with record companies and it just started to happen, and you're not going to say no to that. You're just going to explore and see where it goes. And it meant that I got to do some really exciting things. MTV, Top of the Pops, Saturday, chatting to you.
CBBC, yeah.
CBBC, which was lovely because that felt quite full circle, didn't it?
Yeah.
For me to come in, like you were interviewing me.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was really nice. But all of that was, it was a weird time to do singing because it was a time when we were going away from actually physically buying a CD to digital stuff, and everything took a hit. And so when it came out, I didn't even know when it was coming out.
Really?
And we didn't quite have social media yet. Not really, did we?
I mean, I was rooting for you so hard.
I know.
I think it was a banger.
It was a banger, and people actually still do it. Like, it had a little underground following, and I probably, if I'm being honest, could have pursued it afterwards. But I realised I didn't want to.
Where did you get to?
32.
I mean, it's not terrible.
It's still top 40. And bear in mind, I didn't even know when it was going to come out.
Yeah.
It was like, it lost momentum. And I'm not going to blame George Michael, but I kind of am a little bit.
Okay.
So George Michael signed back up with Sony, and I had all this like excitement around me because I was like a new artist off the telly. Yeah. And then George Michael signed back up with Sony, and it just went.
Right.
And so everything lost. George Michael, God, we'll forgive him. So it kind of lost a bit of momentum, and then they were going to put it out at Christmas, and then they didn't want to get caught in the Christmas fight.
It wasn't a Christmas track.
It wasn't a Christmas track, and then it was just pushed back. And then in the end, once it came out, I think it would lost a bit of that momentum, and I went from, this is how brutal it was. Although I still cite this as the best thing that could have happened to me because it taught me to be resilient. But on the Saturday, my management rang me and said, look, this is where it's going to chart. It's going to be 32. I think it went to like 28, and it had more traction on like the music channels because people were asking for it to be played. Right. But in those days, it was Radio 1 or nothing, wasn't it? And so I found it on the Saturday, this is where it's going to chart. On the Sunday, it goes out on the Radio 1 chart show. So here it go out. Monday morning, it's been lovely working with you, goodbye.
Really?
Dropped Monday morning. It was brutal. And it was like, okay, what do you want? And I had to really sit with myself and go, like, I could have kept pushing, look for another record company. I didn't enjoy it. Okay. Like, I didn't enjoy like any of it. It felt more performative than ever. And I felt like I was being pushed into being someone that I wasn't. And
Which is what this song goes against, isn't it?
Literally, I mean, it's quite interesting because it's called Little Miss Perfect, about not being perfect. It's my work now. That's all I talk about. Really? About being your weirder self, about being your edgy or, the messy self. But it's funny that actually that song, that's what it was about. But it didn't feel like that to me. I felt like I was giving them a version that was this kind of Avril Lavigne-esque version, but it wasn't really me. Like, and I didn't. So I think instantly I was like, I just want to go back to acting. Like I just wanted to be like in the bill.
Well, hashtag justice for Little Miss Perfect, because I think it was a banger. Go and look it
Bring
up
it back
right now. If you got asked to do like Mighty Hoopler or something, would you do it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to tag them.
Do you know what? I just think like now I'm all for, we'll just see what happens. Like I don't like to lock anything off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I just think even though now currently I'm not doing any acting, currently I'm not singing, I'm 40. Like if something comes up and I think that might be a laugh and it feels fun. That's what I think I started to lose after, in the industry for a long time. Suddenly it was, I was doing Waterloo Road and I was doing Doctors and the Bill and doing TV shows. And, we were both in a similar position of where you're bouncing from shows to shows and you're constantly chasing.
Yeah.
I stopped enjoying it. I didn't like that bit. I loved acting, loved doing the stuff. But I was just sick of the chasing and having so little control in my own life. That didn't seem fun. So I think for me now, there's a little resistance to that.
Yeah.
But then in some ways, that's probably the best time to go into an audition because I'll get the part. Every time I was pregnant, I got the part.
Really?
Because I didn't care. I knew I couldn't do it. So I would go in calmer and like they're like, who is this nonchalant legend? Like,
she's so chill.
She's so chill. She should get the part. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do the part. So in this part, you're going to be punched in the stomach. Yeah, I can't do that one.
And you did do a lot of shows after Byker.
Yeah. I did a fair few and, even did a little stint as a CBBC radio presenter.
Did you?
Yeah, with Mr. Tumble.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So random.
Iconic.
Iconic. I didn't know who he was. I didn't have kids then. Now you tell them. And there's no social media of it because I just didn't take pictures then. God's sake. But I did, Waterloo Road, did the second series of Waterloo Road, got expelled there. I mean, I was like 23 then, so at school. As you do.
I remember.
It's quite weird, isn't it? But you like you to be all, I think it's easier, isn't it? And then just bounced around doing things and was really enjoying doing that. But I did always know that there was something else outside of it that I wanted to do. I always acting's so consuming, isn't it? Like you're just all in. And then when I had kids, it kind of was that breaker of like slowing down. And it allowed me to think, well, there might be other things that I could do outside of that. And then sadly, my husband died of brain cancer. And when that happened, I just didn't care. It was so weird. It was a real shift in my brain. Like I'd done Casualty, done a couple of episodes on Casualty, which had got, it was a sexual assault survivor and it got a lot of interest. And then I'd been booked to do, I think I was playing a footballer's wife in some film, so typecast. And I just, when Ross got diagnosed, it wasn't just, I want to care for Ross. It was like a switch shifted in my brain. I didn't care. I almost couldn't understand why I ever wanted to do it. It was so weird.
Really?
Yeah, and it took a while. It took quite a while after Ross's death for me to even consider it. And then now I did a comedy series for Amazon a couple of years ago because a friend of mine was like, do you want to come in? He was producing it. He's like, do you want to do an episode on this? It's a comedy. I think I should only do comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
Okay.
But more so because before that, all I did was do hospital dramas and depressing stuff. And I was manifesting way too hard. The Bill was brilliant. No, the Bill was brilliant because I was a fan of the Bill.
Yeah.
Loved it. And I remember the audition came up, rang my sister. I was like, guess what auditions come in? And she went, prostitute on the Bill. And I was like, drug addict. And she was like, you have to get it.
Jackpot.
Yes. And I remember I went in and I was really tanned. Like we were talking about how tanned everyone from Byker Grove was. We were so orange. I mean, I'm still a little bit there. We don't like to be too pale. But we'd come down from the northeast, wouldn't we, to TV shoot, and they'd be like, why are they so brown? What's going on up there? I thought it was cold.
Yeah.
But I remember doing the audition for that, and the casting director was like, can this go?
Just a makeup wipe.
I'll stop in the shower. We'll be pale as anything. Don't you worry about that. And and then it was Christmas. And to be honest, I was quite a chubby crackhead because at Christmas I didn't really I just enjoyed myself at Christmas. Could have been a little slimmer as the crackhead, but it was my favourite part. And for the part, my character was supposed to be coming down off the drugs. So the day before, I got the great idea with my sister. I was like, let's get really drunk, like bad, so I'm hungover.
Right.
And I look rough.
Yeah.
That is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So
I've done that before.
Yeah. So we drank
Method.
Yeah. Well, what we drank was like, you know, the vodka that basically burns your insides. Like, it was cheap. We were, we didn't have much money, so we were just like, we bought, like, it was basically just just horrid. Drank that, and we went through all the stages of drunk, the tears, the angry, the phone people, like all the funny stages. So I get up to travel across London in the morning, had to get off at the Stratford East Tube Station to throw up. I was hungover. So I got on set, and they're like, oh, she's really good. I'm like, she is, I mean, fantastic. What good acting. And then when they were like, Holly's wrapped for the day, I was like, oh, why is this not gone? I'm so ill. I was so ill, but it looked good. So
I had a scene similar to that, and I'd had a big night out the night before. We're so professional, aren't we?
We take our art very seriously. And, what was it for?
It was for Hollyoaks, yeah. And I'd been out the night before, and the cast are known for having a big night out.
Yeah.
And I had to, in the show, I'd spent a night in a prison cell, and the makeup artist was doing checks, and she went, "You look terrible, it's fantastic." And I went, brilliant. So that paid off, actually.
It did, yeah. There was scenes because I was like sweating and like vodka was coming out my pore. Like, she looks fantastic. I mean, just method. We just cared about what we did. That's all it was. It was funny.
I thought we'd talk about Annie Owen.
Lovely Annie.
Annie, who played the iconic Lou Gallagher. Yeah, and who sadly passed away in 2023. And Annie was just like such a big part of my biker experience.
Yeah, I mean, she was.
But you knew her before the show, right?
So I don't remember, but I lived next door to her.
Right.
So when I was like, I think I was 3 when I left.
Yeah.
So I only vaguely remember, but she used to be next door, and I think it was like there was always parties with like Robson Green and like all the kind of Geordie actor lot. And so my mum and dad knew Annie, and they knew her from the music scene because she was
she was a rocker.
She was a rocker, and my mum and dad were punks, so they all like knew each other through music scene and stuff like that. So I lived next door to her. Although I didn't really work with her much in Byker. You did, didn't you? Because obviously she was your foster mum. But I didn't really. But she was, I mean, not even just in Byker, in the, I guess the actor scene in the Northeast, the performer scene, she was just such a staple and such a sweetheart. Even when I left the show, she would always support and she would always reach out. And it actually really upset me when I heard that Annie had died. It really got me. And I
just remember like when she would come and do a scene at the Grove, all the cast would be on like best behaviour. Yeah. Because she was such a pro, wasn't she? So
professional. Like you knew you were like, you felt like almost like a safety when she was very calm and as a presence. Like,
and if the cast were being a little bit, playing up a little bit or didn't know their lines, she didn't complain or anything.
No. Yeah, but I was a little bit scared of her sometimes because she was strict. Like if you needed to be quiet, like she would say, wouldn't she? She'd like, I was a little bit intimidated because she had a presence about her. Not when I was really little.
I found myself probably trying a little bit harder when I worked with her as well, which is nice. And I remember like at the end of a scene, especially if you had like a two-hander with her, if she gave you a little tap on the leg and a wink and say, "Very nice pet," I'd be like, "Yes."
Oh, that's so nice. That's so lovely. Yeah, I have so many fun. And obviously your last scene in the show was with Annie and
we messaged me because we found out the Sam Fender songs about Annie.
That made me cry.
I know, because I like the song anyway. And then when I found that out, I was like, I
didn't know that. But I suppose, she had such an impact on people. And I think, like, of course she did. Like, of course, there was other people that she supported in that way. But definitely, I think, or any of the cast, I think, any of the people from Byker, because it felt like a family, it doesn't matter that we haven't seen each other for years.
Yeah, it's so true.
There's just something that, it's an experience in a show like that you can't replicate and you can't really explain it to you couldn't explain it now. It wouldn't happen now in the same way. Everything is so different. We were so cocooned, weren't we? Like, nobody knew. I mean, we used to do, I don't know if you remember, probably, I don't know if it was every year, but we used to go on that little holiday somewhere. Some like,
oh yeah,
do you remember?
And it was Hall.
And we were so naughty.
We used to sneak off.
We used to take like a little like sort of camping, not camping, it was like little out. What did we even do there? I don't remember anything.
They're like little cabins, weren't
Cabins,
they?
and we'd go there, and we always used to joke, didn't we? Say late night Byker Grove would have been like.
We were like 15 going, oh, let's have a late night Byker Grove.
Who did we think we were? We weren't even doing anything that bad, but we were not. We definitely got told off. Like we used to like smoking and like drinking and that. Oh wait, so bad. It's hilarious now when you think back. Well, snogging.
No, yeah. Oh my God.
But I remember like we used to like. Yeah, so we always used to talk about that, didn't we? We always used to say, like, if people really knew, because we did have to be on our best behaviour.
Yeah.
Because it was the BBC as well, and because it was a kids show, if ever we were outside of, like, Byker, if we were representing the show, it was really strict for that, wasn't it? Like, you really had to be, not that we were bad kids, we weren't, none of us were.
I don't think so, just a little bit.
No, we're just normal kids.
Mischief,
We were, But it was funny.
Do you think duty of care was right when you were there?
No.
No? I mean, it's a different time, isn't it?
I don't remember ever feeling unsafe.
No.
But I was a really savvy kid.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered, and it's not a criticism of anybody, because I think, you know, we had some amazing chaperones that looked after us, but let's be real, right? Mental health was never talked about.
Yeah.
And can you remember when they used to bring in a psychiatrist, like maybe once a year?
Oh, wow. Yes.
And we used to, I remember it vividly, because the first time it happened, it must have been some legislation where they had to check in on us. And it was in the tutor bus. So we had Jeanette, our tutor, didn't we? And with the tutor bus.
I've totally forgotten about that.
Yeah. And I remember us all lined up, right? And we were all like, oh, what are we doing? Right,
one in, one out?
One in, one out. They basically brought us into this room and they went.
Yeah, Reed.
I swear that was it. It was like, do you feel depressed? No.
Nah, I'm fine.
No, I don't want to talk. Like, you're not going to talk about anything. All your classmates are lined up.
Okay, at least they tried.
They did try. Take fine. But going back out absolutely riddled with problems.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, so I do think like there was probably things that came into place. But I mean, you look back now. I mean, I remember certain things, and I have talked about some of them. And I mean, like where you just think that was weird, and that was, you know, rap parties and things like that. There wasn't, and again, this is not a criticism of people individually. It's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. It was a sign of the times, and people probably thought everyone's fine.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everyone was. I'm not suggesting that they weren't, but I definitely think there was some things where I think, I mean, even now, kissing, as like any kind of kissing stuff, there was a lot of cast members, their first kiss was on set.
Yeah.
And I remember kissing Adam Henderson, who played Matt in the show, and one of the directors was really weird about it, and he was directing the kiss. And it was so, I mean, we would have been 15 maybe, and it's already awkward. These are your mates, and now you've got to snog them. That's awkward anyway.
Yeah.
And sometimes they fancied you, or you, like, they'd asked you out or whatever. And it was like awkward. Like, it was all interpersonal relationships happening. And so I'm doing this kiss, and he was like, right, you've got to go in, kiss, pull away. And we directed it. We were so uncomfortable. And he kept going, I know it's hard to kiss a woman. I know it's horrible for you. Like Adam, who was obviously straight as well, it was made really awkward. I'm not sure that would happen now.
No.
I'm not sure what they would do in terms of kissing and stuff like that now. I think they'd avoid it. I do think there was stuff there where really, if we were looking back, there wasn't really the care there.
And in terms of like the 6 months of the year when you weren't at Byker as well, like nobody really checked in, did they?
They didn't.
Yeah.
No. And I do, like, you know, because we were normal kids, there was kids that had difficulties at home or had difficulties at school. And I do think you were kind of just, you're not on set now. And again, like I say, none of it's a criticism. I just don't think we didn't understand a lot of stuff. We didn't understand mental health stuff. And we didn't, you know, we just didn't. It was just a different time.
Do you think it gave you a bit of a thick skin?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Really thick skin.
Yeah.
But I think it took me a long time to not have that. Like I mean, I'm talking like the last 10 years, even 5 years. I've had to do a lot of work on you're not in a fight. Because for so long we had to be the biggest, the loudest, the strongest. You were always on tenterhooks worrying that someone was going to have a pop or fight or want to physically fight you. When we were younger, we used to go out in the town and stuff. And so I think all of that made
You were quite
me hard.
feisty though.
Yeah. I was a little bit feisty. But I think it was a result of like it was a response.
Yeah.
I was always like worried that someone was gonna, because people used to start fights with me. And so I was like worried that it was gonna happen. It was actually only really when I moved to London and I kind of went, oh, I don't think anyone's gonna fight me here. And I started to unpick, like, you're not in a fight. You're not, I mean, I don't just mean physically, like, literally, I mean, like, I felt like there was always had to be switched on. And that was exhausting.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable, that felt more uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
I could do the go and the attack everything, but it was when you had to sit in stillness I struggled with. And I think if we look back now, I'm sure there's cast members that didn't get on as we obviously rode the wave of that. And even if we've had our difficulties, we've come out the other side. But I would imagine there's cast members that we aren't aware of that did struggle. Not everybody copes with that. And that's why I say now, like, we're in a fortunate position. When I'm talking to my kids who are 14 and 12, or I'm talking to anyone younger, we've got a really unique position that we know what it's like to be on a pedestal, from being all of our life really has been on a pedestal of some kind where there was people watching. And I'm not saying that has its psychological impact, but it actually gives us quite an interesting look at social media, because I think it made me care less about that stuff. Like, it's never really bothered me, people calling me names on the internet. I had literal websites set up about me.
Wow.
When I was doing singing.
Oh, really?
I had a website that was set up, a hate website, and it said, would you on her if she was on fire?
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. So I feel like that kind of gave us a thicker skin, I think, to deal with stuff. And I'm grateful for all of that stuff, even the stuff that wasn't, when you look back, you think, oh, don't know if that was looked after. I'm so grateful for it.
And what about your girls? Did they want to go into the industry, or?
So my oldest, yes. My oldest, Brooke, she's desperate to be that's all she wants to do.
And how do you feel about that? Knowing what you know now about.
I'm much more careful.
Yeah.
My youngest wants to be a footballer. That feels easier. She could. That feels less scary, and she's very very inspired by the women's England team and all of that. But I think for a long time I was really nervous about my daughters wanting to go into the industry, just because we learned more. And even if it wasn't us, like, just we heard more about what happened in the industry when kids were young and not protected, because they just weren't. And I think social media makes me really cautious. You know when something, and I'm sure you've had things go viral on the internet, and it's like, once that genie is out the bottle,
that's it.
You can't stop it. And that made me a bit nervous. But Brooke had a video, I don't know if you remember seeing it, but Brooke went viral, a video when she was younger. And that was a taste that frightened me. Like, it scared me, because she had this video, some of you will have seen it, where she was ranting at Theresa May, who was the Prime Minister at the time, saying about homelessness. Yeah. And people thought that was so contrived, like I'd made her say it. They hadn't met Brooke. She was like me as a kid. She was very articulate, very talkative. And she was talking to me about homelessness, telling me I should buy all the houses for everybody, and why didn't the Queen do it at the time. And I just said, listen, Theresa May is the Prime Minister. This is how it works. And then one time she wouldn't go to bed, and she was like, I want to do a video to the Prime Minister. And it was just because she try and get her to go to sleep. It
is the same, a parallel, you writing that letter to Byker.
It's the same, she's so similar. Brilliant. And so she had that video go viral, and that literally went, I put it out thinking it would get a bit of a laugh off a few people. It was naive really now. Yeah. And suddenly I was getting calls from the Ellen DeGeneres show, Russia Today. Like, it was mad. And she ended up doing Dawn French's show, Little Big Shots.
Oh, yeah.
And she went on there, and her talent was being opinionated. I don't know where she gets it from. I don't know where. Shocking.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But I think she just loved it. And one thing with Brooke is that it's the thing, like, very similar to me as a kid. She loves it. So she really takes time to learn it. Yeah. And I think I was nervous, but I think now I really recognize that when you are put in a place where you're doing what you should be doing, and it feels like we had that safety, that feeling of I can breathe when I'm on set. I know how amazing, like, if I look back now and I think God, what if I just had to go to school? I don't think I'd have survived that. I think I really, really would have struggled, knowing my personality and knowing like who I am. I think I would have really struggled to go to school every day and not have something else.
Yeah.
So I think, you know what, if that's what she wants to do and it brings her joy, both of my kids, whatever brings you joy, do more of that. Find a way to make that your work.
I'm excited to see what they do then. And what are you up to at the minute?
So
you're a busy lady.
I am busy. So my business, the Happy Me Project, is as always in full flow. So wrote 2 books, have the Happy Me Project membership, which is a self-development membership where all of the stuff that we probably could have done with all those years ago. Yeah. Now I talk about that. But the good thing is acting comes in, like my last book, Find Your Confidence, a no nonsense guide to self-belief. That was bringing acting and then the mindset world together, because it was all about how do you look confident. So we know how to do that as actors. We know how to present confidently. And then also how internally do you feel confident as well? And so it's actually really nice for me to use the skills that I had as an actor, being able to do TEDx talks and talk on stages and do TV stuff and it not even be a question. And, you know, people will probably say the same to you. Are you nervous before you do it? And I'm like, that's my most comfortable.
Really? See, I still get nervous, and people will go, "Oh, but you looked absolutely fine." I'm like, inside I'm screaming. But
I wouldn't think that, but you can't tell, can you?
Yeah.
No, I feel like a sense of calm.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I feel I'd be more confident in front of a camera chatting to Lorraine or to you, or you know, in front of a camera than I would chatting to mums on the school run.
Really?
That because then I have to make small talk and then I have to practice. Texas laughs.
It's a bit more judgmental that though,
I'm like, when we used to go into the school and Texas used to laugh at me, that's my youngest, and she'd be like, because I'd be like, right, the teachers wave at you when you say good morning when you come in, and that I'm like, what if I come across as weird? So I'd practice it when hiya. She's like, don't do that, don't do that at people. I'm like, hiya, or I'd come in and go, hi, good morning. And then I'd drop my face too soon, and she'd be like, no, mum, you need to keep smiling for longer. You need to, hi, good morning.
Wow, they're strict.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my kids are just like, why are you like this? And I'm like, I've always been like this. It's just now I'm embarrassing and it's a joy. That's a treat as a parent to be embarrassing. Do you not think? I feel like I've earned that right.
This has been a joy.
I've loved it.
I've loved it.
It's all good.
Oh, I'm so pleased you're my first guest.
Oh, I'm excited to see who else you talk to.
Yes.